with the weather starting to get colder, it is officially soup season, stew season. I guess a chili is kind of under those, but I do love a hearty chili. It's always so filling. And for me, I've just really grown used to only doing bean chilies. I think they're so filling. I like to start off mine with some red onion, some garlic, some mushrooms, and sometimes I think people see chopping as such a tedious thing, but after you get used to it, it almost becomes like a meditative thing, and I just really do love chopping my vegetables and getting in touch with the different textures and everything that's on your plate. And after you do some practice, it really doesn't take that much time, and you can get that kind of uniform chop. After I get through these carrots, then I'm going to start with my peppers. I always like to do a mix of different kinds of peppers. I think it adds a nice balance to the heat and then a little bit of sweet flavor in there. So just use your favorite kinds. I don't really think it matters, but a good color variation is nice to look at in the finished product. And then I go in by sauteing all of these vegetables that I've shown so far, and I just get a nice caramelization going on them. I'm going to go in with some mixed beans, some diced tomatoes. Usually I use fire roasted tomatoes, but I couldn't find them. Just adds a good smoky flavor, but any tomatoes is fine. And then I go in with some tomato sauce as well. So once I've got all my cans opened, then it comes time to just dump everything in after the vegetables are softened up a little bit. I start with my beans, and mixed beans are just a nice way again to get some variety going. And then I go in with my tomatoes and the sauce, and then I like to add a broth. I don't think it matters what kind of broth you do. I've done veggie broth, I've done beef bone broth before, so I think just do what your preference is. Then going in with some cumin and some chili powder, and after that is all mixed up, I'm just going to add the lid on and bring it up to a boil. Also, something that I forgot to show you is I did dump some red lentils in here. That always adds a really nice texture. So once it brings to a boil, I reduce it down to a simmer. And then I get out my immersion blender, and this isn't necessary, but it really does give that hearty texture, kind of like a meaty taste to it, and really thickens everything up. So it's not necessarily like a soup, but it really is like a true chili, and it is so delicious every time.
Dog's staring at me.
You want to feed him? I'm afraid if I put these in the microwave, they're gonna get all soft instead of crunchy and crispy.
It's like he does not get excited now until I like take the clip off. And then part of that is just cat back to food now. It's like last term is like his food versus cat stuff. By the way, jug I got, perfect fit.
I'm cutting out labels for my salves that I make for a Christmas market that my mom and I are gonna do. Right? Mm-hmm. I haven't really seen online where they were talking about it. Like, what are they calling it?
Merry Market.
A Merry Market.
Mm-hmm. You know, things are always, he's just kind of a, he's just a scrapper, like his dad, just a scrapper.
Do you need the baking soda and the baking powder?
I like to pick a day where we do our other cookies too,
Like the gingerbread?
Yeah, or those, what do you call them?
The Windsor. So we're making these sugar cookies that are called Loft House. Really thick sugar cookies that you get, or you see them a lot of the time at the grocery store, that have like really thick colored icing and sprinkles. And they're really soft and they're very addicting. So I'm gonna make some from scratch with more wholesome ingredients. but they're still gonna be an indulgent treat. Half cup of butter. I'm using coconut sugar, which I know is gonna make the batter of the cookies darker than it would be if I used cane sugar, but this really doesn't change the flavor, so it's fine. I got this mixer for a wedding gift from, I think it was supposed to be what, from like all the siblings?
I guess.
I think so. Anyways, and then I had it up in Maryland for many years when I was doing, posting a lot of dessert recipes and everything on my blog. And then when we moved down here, we were living with my parents for a while. My mom, I set up my mixer in the kitchen so we could use it, and she just kept it. So it made a little bit more sense though for her to have it because she, has more people coming through than Russ and I. So I was like, yeah, it's fine, just keep it. Like, I've got a little hand mixer, it's no big deal. But it would be nice to have one, have mine. So Mom has decided that she's gonna just keep this one for herself, and she said she will replace it for another one for me. But it's fine. Okay, I'm scraping down the sides. I do 1.5 teaspoons, but I did 2 because I love vanilla. 1 egg from the Hens Out Back. Oh yeah. This recipe that I'm following says to use 1/4 cup of sour cream, but I don't really do a ton of dairy, so I'm using this plant-based. This just tastes like, wait, it's not right. It tastes just like sour cream. Maybe not just like it, but very close. And in a cookie recipe, I don't think we will notice a difference. It's an unsweetened yogurt. Where's your rolling pin? Sweet, those cookies aren't like perfect. No? Also, I so rarely, I can't tell you last time I had like powdered sugar, cane sugar sort of stuff, but I picked this up at the store. This is just some organic cane sugar and tapioca starch. So that's what's in it. Okay. I didn't want to do a sugar-free, wait a second, let me close this. I didn't want to do a sugar-free alternative to powdered sugar because I've tried them and I feel like they don't taste, there's just something off about it. The granular sugar-free sweeteners, okay, but when you go to powdered sugar, there's something about it that has a very strange aftertaste, and I think, after all my years of studying nutrition, just go for the cane sugar, okay? It's not gonna kill you every once in a while. But always do aim for organic when you're gonna go for things like this. At least that's my approach. I use this attachment because I think that's what I should have been using the whole time. But that's okay. I took cake decorating classes when I was in, when I was a kid. Maybe not a kid, but I was in middle school. I took cake decorating classes with one of my best friends at Michael's, and we learned a lot. It was fun, but smelling this frosting reminds me of that. That was before I got diabetes. This seems too soft.
Remember, it's gonna be soft and then it hardens up a little.
I was looking back at my recipe and I realized that I was halving the ingredients, as I said, for the buttercream frosting, and I didn't half the liquid, which is the milk that you add to it. I should have only done 1 tablespoon, I did 2, and that's why it's runny. My oven is preheated, so I'm gonna put in my cookies. Thing is, I am actually at my mom's, obviously, if you didn't know, this is my mom's house, and I have to go back home, and I don't really have time to make a whole batch of cookies because I have to get back. So I'm just gonna make a few. I'll try one here, but then I'll have to make the rest when I get home. I'll just bring the batter back home. Well, not the batter, but the cookie dough back home. And then if I make another batch of frosting, I'll try and do it right. Also, my mom really wants me to put sprinkles on them, which I do as well. However, I really am not a fan of adding food coloring to foods unless it's a natural dye that is like food-based, just whole food based. So she doesn't really have any here. So I'm gonna put some sprinkles on her cookies. That's all for now. The cookies are baking for 8 minutes, which isn't long. Unfortunately, I've been a little bit rushed. That's why like the dough was a little sticky because I didn't let it chill long enough. But it's okay, we live and we learn. This is why I think everyone should move up to the country where Russ and I live, and we can all live in the foothills on a giant plot of land, and we can just, you know, maybe like take a 4-wheeler to each other's houses. That sounds like a great idea to me. Let's start a little community like we used to. I don't really love living so far apart, but I guess it's the way the world is, at least for now. Maybe one day things will change and we'll all get a little bit closer together again. However, we are much closer than we were because we lived in Maryland before, and that was a 12-hour drive, so we're closer.
Coconut sugar. She is going to.
You should never put buttercream on anything warm because it's just gonna melt off.
She's just trying to.
It's way too warm to frost them, but I just want to try.
I'll give Leslie one, see what she thinks. Is it that good?
Yeah, but it needs like not to be melted frosting.
Oh, okay.
All right, so here are the cookies, and wow, those taste like my childhood. I would come home from school, and if my mom had picked up these cookies, I would have like 3, 4, easy. These are so good. It's the next day. I came home and I just had to bring a lot of the cookie dough home, and I just chilled it in the fridge. So anyways, I made them this late afternoon. It's like 4:45, it's almost 5 o'clock. Took a shower. It's raining outside. I'm gonna make a cup of tea or a cup of decaf coffee. Oh, that would be really good. And finish this cookie.
Mmm. Mmm. It's so good.
You get a soft one though.
Mm-hmm. You just like those Publix cookies. Great.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think they taste like my childhood. Getting ready to go work at a Christmas market. My mom has stuff that she's gonna be selling at this Christmas market. I'm gonna be selling some homemade soaps and my salves. As you know, you've seen me make these before in like another video. They're so good. You can apply them on your hands, on your feet, anywhere really. You could probably even put it on your face. I would be a little bit hesitant to put it on your face just because I didn't formulate it for your face, but it probably would be safe. Anyways, I'm just gonna do my hair a little bit. It's like been up for so long, it kind of sore. I am trying out this texture spray by Sam McKnight. It's a really pretty bottle. This is like one of the first hair products that is not Act & Acre that I have tried in a very, very long time. So we'll see how I like it. I want it to stay big. This is obviously a little big. I'm gonna take a clip. Let's see how to do this. I don't love it, but it is borderline greasy. I just thought it might rain and I thought, what's the point? So I'm gonna wear these little boots today. I feel like that's festive, and I'm also gonna be on my feet for hours on upon hours. It's my mom who reserved the booth. So I'm just going to work at her booth and then I'll shop around, hopefully. Oh, it's missing a little stud. That's okay. Green. I got a little Christmas. Sterling Archer, hush. Got on a little green emerald costume jewelry. I've got on this Rudolph, except his little nose is wearing off. So hopefully you can still tell it's a reindeer. Actually, now that I think about it, it doesn't even have ears. It doesn't have antlers. Boots. And I've got my overalls on. So, oh, this would have been a cute backpack to bring. Oh well, I already have a tote backpack, so gotta go.
Well, it's kind of pink.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Why are you filming for the vlog?
Yeah.